I think is so traumatized from their past relationships that I think a lot of these men are like, I just want to have fun. I don't want an attachment. I don't want a commitment. They probably don't want to be hurt again. It's unfortunate though, because a lot of them don't know how to move in that without hurting others.
Mm.
So I would say it's like 2% of them that know how to be transparent about that and do exactly what they say, and the situations don't get ugly. But 98% of them are not honest about that. And so there's a lot of pretending to want certain things.
Hi, I'm Clarissa from Love Fearlessly. I want to tell you about the products we create with faith and purpose in mind. At Love Fearlessly, we design biblical affirmation cards, journals, and wall art to encourage you and keep God's promises front and center in your life. These are more than just beautiful items. They're tools to help you stay rooted in scripture, speak life over yourself, and create an atmosphere of faith in your home. Whether you're starting your day with affirmations, journaling your prayers, or decorating your space with God's truths, our products are here to remind you that His love and promises never fail. So if you're ready to bring more faith and encouragement into your daily life, check us out. At Love Fearlessly, we're here to help you live boldly in God's love.
What's up, Bravehearts community? This is Sean Heineman, your premier pre-engagement coach, back with another segment of It's Scary to Remarry, inspiring you to love fearlessly. My co-host isn't with us today. Shout out to my co-host, Aquila Maddox. She couldn't be with us, but we're gonna hold it down. So Q, this one is for you. And we're gonna get this episode over to you because I know you're gonna enjoy it. We have a returning guest with us today. She's no stranger to the platform, but today's topic, we're going to discuss what are the four most important things in any relationship. This is going to be a good one. Today's guest, she is a mom, influencer, actress, motivational speaker, and mental health awareness advocate. And I want to talk about her podcast as well. We're going to jump into that as well. Brave Hearts community, let's show some love to Treese. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you? Hi, everybody.
And of
Happy to be
course,
back. Mhm.
for sure, you're no stranger to the platform. You were on with us a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, had a
Um,
great time. And we're going to miss your co host.
yeah,
You
for
call her
sure.
Q. Did I hear you say Q?
Q, Aquila.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to Q. If you have
Shout
any
out to her.
questions for
Mhm.
today's guest, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. What's up, Al Gleason? How are you doing? How is everyone doing this evening? Leave your questions for our guest because she has an amount of wisdom that's going to definitely help someone in this topic. So, before we get into today's topic, Trees, what inspired you to create your platform for Talk to Trees?
What inspired me was one night, unfortunately, I'm here in the DMV. We had an unfortunate violent crime happen with a young boy, actually, a young teenager. And it really had the whole city riled up. It was a neighbor of his that went out to defend himself. And unfortunately, the young boy lost his life. But because it was such a big community talk, I just started a conversation one night for everyone to kind of vent and say how they feel. And it was so many people, of course, understanding where the neighbor was coming from. Community is tired. Mothers of young boys that was defending, his position and what was right and what was wrong. And from there, I just grew this love for community talk, for our community. Um, to be specific, our Black community, honestly, between men and women. And I just grew a love from it. The ball just grew from there. And it really grew big with the relationship dynamic, as we know. Um, so yeah, just my community. We need it.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
need the tools. Mhm.
Yeah, because I met you on Instagram,
Yep.
and of course, I've watched some of your episodes and the amount of wisdom, and I love when you talk about the relationships and stuff because we need to hear more of it, especially from a Black woman's perspective. We need that. I think that's very,
Thank you. We do.
yeah.
And we need more men. We need more men like yourself and R.C. Blakes and oh gosh, my other guy, Steven. Isaac Stevens. We need more guys willing to have the conversations. You highlight a lot on your platform.
Yeah, these conversations are vital. This topic right here, what are the four most important things in any relationship, in your opinion? What are those four?
Those four, I have my notes, and I laughed at myself every time I wrote one. I was like, it got a drop down. All of them have a drop down. So the four I wrote down was communication, alignment, respect, and then love. I feel that any relationship cannot last without those four. And again, all of those have drop downs. Hopefully, I can get into those and how they roll into the next one.
Yes, for sure. Please talk about all four because I think they are very vital. And I agree with you, but I would just like to hear your perspective on.
Okay. Okay. So with communication, I wrote down, how transparent are you? How transparent are you? How vulnerable can you be with your words and your fears? I think so many of us, we hear people say, communication is everything. Communication is key, but we really don't take in just how much that means. Like, you truly have to be able to communicate each and everything that's going on inside of you, things that you want to hide, things that you don't like and you do like, no matter how small or big. And so I think a lot of people do, safe communication. They put up barriers on their communication, or they don't communicate at all. And then there's the whole, how does each person communicate, the different styles and how they clash. So that's a whole nother box. But communication has to happen from both people in order to come to a common ground, to, for the relationship to flourish. The next thing is alignment. And I put, this shows up in all relationships, best friends, significant other, even work relationships, and even your co-parent relationship. You truly have to know what your own values are. And I think many of us either didn't know for many years or still don't know. Do you know what you value, what your morals are, what's important to you? Because it's going to matter if that other person aligns with that, or at least if they close to aligning with those things. So alignment is so important. Respect goes a long way. And I almost would say that respect is more important than love. Or I would say, to me, respect will allow love to keep growing, to constantly grow. You don't have no respect, the love will die. Whatever love you guys did, it will die. Respect is so important. How you handle one another. Words that maybe we should choose not to even say to one another. I once had a friend that said to me, somebody has to know when to be quiet. And I think that's true too, because lack of respect, and you let arguments get on a certain level, some things you can never come back from, no matter what. And then finally, love. Love has a big, big drop down because it holds so many things. Love holds grace. Love holds understanding, sacrifice, putting commitment first, compromise. Love will cause you to choose each other. So those are the four things. You can't do it out. Try to
Love
sum them up. What you say?
it. No, love it, love it.
Okay, so communication, alignment, respect, and love. Gotta have those four.
Mhm. Now, alignment,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting that one.
Okay.
Because now, can you repeat the alignment piece? Because I really would like to delve into that just a little further. And what was the inspiration behind the alignment? Because
Good question. Yeah. So with alignment, I said, where do your values lie? So many of us do need to understand what our values and our morals are. And I think we don't even realize in relationships that don't work out, it doesn't have to be man and woman in love. It could be your best friend, or it could be even, like I said, a coworker at work. When your core values are a certain way or certain things, you have a certain level of not pride, but accountability in yourself, you are not going to be able to carry on a relationship forever with someone that doesn't have those same beliefs or at least similar beliefs. It will just never work. And I like to use an example. If you have two good friends, two women, and you have one woman that believes in, she believes it's okay to sleep with married men, and she is totally unaccountable, could care less. And then you got her friend who totally feels that that is wrong and would never do that to her knowing. At some point, that relationship to me, for me, would not be able to carry on forever, because it's going to cause you to judge her. It's going to cause you to be protective of your own life and your own man that you may be with. And it's not going to sit well with you knowing that these are her characteristics. These are the type of choices that she made. She don't align with you being your friend, honestly.
Yeah, I agree because the whole alignment thing, like they say, birds of a feather flock together, right? You know,
Yep,
that whole
yep.
thing. And having those morals, I think they are important. I think a lot of people get tripped up when it comes to if you had to choose the attraction or alignment,
Mm,
because
mhm,
they might be y'all might align morally,
mhm.
but you're like, oh, girl, he only 5'6".
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So it's
I
like,
get that.
yeah, like I love the God factor. You know, he loves the
Mhm.
Lord and he attends church, man of integrity, but I just might not be attracted to him,
Yeah.
you know.
Me and a friend just had that conversation tonight, a girlfriend, and that's a good topic.
Yeah, like
That's a good topic.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think most people would rather rock with the look than
Look, that's something we really got to get over. It raises the question, can you, R.C. Blake says can you grow to love a person and really just look at them like, oh, it's just a twinkle in my eye, when at one time there was no attraction? Can that happen?
it can.
Okay.
It's harder in this age of social media, though,
Yeah.
because, and I think we might have touched on this in the last episode, and I'm kind of having rabbit trails, but I think this is worth discussing.
Definitely.
When we were growing up back in the day, whoever was in your neighborhood was in your neighborhood,
Right.
and you didn't have that many options. It was like if there was only 5 girls on the street, it was 5 girls,
Right.
and maybe the girls you saw in school. But for the most part, or church, for the most part, those were just the people you saw. But now, in this age of social media, somebody always cute on social media,
Yeah. Yep.
so it's like, okay, I chose this person morally,
Yeah.
but I see all these fine,
Mhm.
men or these fine women, it almost
Mhm.
maybe take away from
Yeah.
you're already
I
not
heard someone
attracted,
say
and then
that.
you see all these people.
Yeah, I heard someone say that social media has created this illusion that we all have so many options, you know? And I don't know if that's an illusion. Shoot, some people really do have a lot of options.
Yeah.
But it keeps the question of what's on the other side, what's on the other side of this fence, what's on the other side of this fence, you know, unless you are really disciplined and locked into what you want, what you need, actually, what you need, not what you want.
Right.
Yeah,
And which, because I know you heard all the stuff about tonight's conversation and stuff like
I
that.
did.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed in that. You know, I had tickets to go to that, ooh, a summer or so ago, and I didn't go. I wasted my ticket and I went on a date. And I wanted to go and support them so bad. I was so sad to see all of that playing out.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and these are all allegations. I don't know everything,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they
A
talk
lot of
about,
talent, a lot of good things was
yeah,
going on with all of them. Yeah.
yeah. And so, you got the thing about this whole thing about cheating and all this other stuff and messing around with all these. I don't know, like I say, it's just
Yeah.
allegations from what I've seen. But a
Mhm.
lot of that comes down to discipline, especially for men.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
can you be
Discipline
around attractive people without
without.
shooting a shot? You know?
Yeah. I talked to my daughter about that. It seems like it's so difficult for men. Actually, me and my oldest daughter talked about that recently. And one of my best friends too. And I said, not all women, because I know you got women that make mistakes or women that are enticed so easily by an attractive guy. But I know a lot of women who, when they are locked in, they're locked in. You can walk through that door, you can be fine, you can be everything under the sun, and she ain't even checking twice, ain't checking once, ain't spinning her head, like don't even see you. And I feel like men struggle with that, you know, especially if the woman is giving them a little extra attention. That discipline is hard. Be like, nope. You got to understand it's going to be a million and one pretty faces. You can walk into a pretty face and a nice figure anywhere, the grocery store, anywhere. You got to be able, like, nope, I have what I need. I have it. But I don't know.
Yeah, women are, like you say, when you're locked in, you're locked in.
Yeah.
And I love that quality in most women where they like, you know what, this is my man. Yeah,
Hmm.
I see a handsome guy, whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Because for most women, but my man is fine, even if he's not on the level of whatever this guy is in her mind and her eyes. Oh, he fine, my own man. It's just like so easy for
Yeah.
us. And I think that comes from the inside too. That's that powerful love and
Mhm,
commitment.
mhm, mhm.
Oh, it's hard out here now.
Yeah, because some guys, and I tell guys, if you can get your flesh under control,
Hmm.
you can really, you can move,
Hmm.
with integrity and honesty, like people will trust you, because there's a lot of guys who blew relationships with women
Hmm.
because they were trying to shoot their shot. And
One try. Yep, there's one try.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
but it's supposed to be all about business and professionalism and
Hmm.
that whole thing. So it's unfortunate. Um, but anyway,
Yep.
that was kind of rabbit trails.
Sorry. I know how we do. You gotta jump over on the side street, come
I
back.
know. Hey, hey, it's all good. It's all good. I think when you have those moments, it's just it's good to catch them in a moment.
Yeah. Yes.
For sure, for
So
sure.
many good topics. People need them.
Because that's the episode within itself. But you know,
Yes.
what are some of the biggest struggles that Black women face in relationships? Because we kind of talked about the man struggle.
Yeah, in relationships. It's funny to hear that question because right now the struggle is getting in the relationship. But let me see the bigger struggles in relationships. I think that women have to remember, just like we expect men to remember this, we have to remember what our guy is attracted to, what his needs are. Um, what are some of the things that you started off doing in the beginning? Yes, time changes and our lives changes depending on how many children you start having and different careers, but you still have to remember what brought you all together and give that focus. Don't forget about that. Sometimes we all can get complacent in relationships, and that's how, the spark dies. You got to remember to try to keep that spark alive. Um, I think women struggle with communication. Sometimes the way we communicate, we will maybe not say anything and let something grow until we're angry, and then we communicate when it's really bad, you know. Um, I'm just trying to think of all the struggles women go through in a relationship. I think anyone, man or woman, go through periods where they're trying to figure themselves out, or, life has changed. If you've been in a relationship for a long time, 5 years or 10 years go by, sometimes people are trying to refigure themselves out. And what does that look like while trying to stay connected with one another? You know, people go through things. They call it midlife crisis. But, so and I think women, balance is important. So I think a lot of times us women will forget, we got the children, we got these obligations at work, you got obligations to the home. And sometimes we either get overwhelmed with everything that's going on, and something ends up starving. And a lot of times our romance and the attention we give our men may starve, and that opens up the door for other things. So I think all of those are just long-term relationship struggles altogether. So what do you think?
Well, you said a lot of stuff that I kind of want to go a little further because when you say about women like not giving, maybe the attention because there's so much other stuff going on, especially when you have kids,
Mm-hmm.
younger kids or careers. There's just so many things that pulls that vie for your attention.
Yeah.
But do you think that is that more of like a fear tactic where it's like because I hear it a lot where women say if you're not doing it, some other woman will.
Mm,
If you're not doing it, if you're not taking care of home, like
I've
how
heard that.
yeah, now I do believe we all should be accountable for our actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do you believe that's true, or do you just believe that that's a fear tactic? Or do you just kind of feel like men should have more discipline?
I definitely feel like you have to remember to put your man first, because it will open a door where he may be looking for attention. I do. And I've seen it happen. Um, doesn't give the excuse like, hey, you weren't paying him attention, because men definitely have to learn discipline. But I do believe that it's a fear thing, but women have to really take it serious, and just make sure you stand on top of those things. But I hear so many women also say you can do all of that all the time and they can still mess up, which is true, you know, they can. But at least you should be providing for your husband, especially your husband, what you said you would always do, you know, especially if you're not sick, you're not, bedridden or anything. You got to, your priority. You got to keep rearranging the priorities because he's a priority. That's something that I learned in a relationship.
Yeah.
Being in relationships that didn't work, don't forget about that. Little things, honestly, little things. And just even, I'm glad that I have friends that are married. Like, when your man comes home, maybe you shouldn't be on the phone when he walks through the door.
Mhm.
Especially if it's not like work or really an emergency, you just gossiping with one of your girlfriends. Just those little things matter, you know?
Yeah, that's real because,
Mhm.
and like you said, there's so many things that kids and jobs and careers, and there's so many things and people that really just can pull your relationship apart. You can literally
Yeah,
just drift apart without
yeah,
even knowing it,
without even knowing. Yeah.
just because we're so inundated with just so much stuff that's going on. And I think I talked about this before in my with my first marriage. It's like I wasn't taking a pulse of our marriage. Like, where are we at in this season right now?
Mhm.
And of course
Yeah,
that
that's
drift
good.
happens.
Yeah, that's true. A good check-in. Like, what's going on? What's going on with us? Those conversations need to happen often. Yeah,
Yeah, because
absolutely.
the person you were 2 years ago, you're not that
Yeah.
person anymore.
Yeah. Life is crazy. You can evolve so much in a year, and you just pray that that person is evolving with you, or at least around you, very similar to
Of
you. Doesn't have to be exactly the same, but very close, if not the same.
course.
Because you be strangers before you know it.
Yep,
You
that's
know?
true. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
And so people say, why did the relationship didn't work? We drift apart.
yeah.
And I believe that's true. I do believe that you can just drift.
You can. And I had talked about in one of my talk to Teresa's purpose. And I ask myself all the time, does a relationship have to have purpose? Should you have a joint purpose? You know?
Yeah. There's a book that I'm reading, and I'll put it in the description below. It is called The Mindful Marriage.
Mindful marriage. Mm-hmm.
Mindful Marriage. And it just came out recently. Uh,
Okay.
when we've been reading it in our marriage class as well. but
Mm-hmm.
but they're talking about having these check-ins, these conversations, and uh what is your pain point? What is really stressing you out right now? These pain cycles that we have, because they call them like these pain and peace cycles, right? I don't want to get too deep into the book, but it's so
Yeah,
good.
I bet. Yeah.
But it's one of those things where like y'all have to be locked in, where when two people come together, get married, that you two bring something together that no one else can bring. You you bring
Mm-hmm.
this third entity into
Yeah.
your marriage.
Yeah.
And it's just like when you think of your marriage bigger than you,
Mm-hmm.
it carries weight, because it's like, no, this is bigger than me,
Right.
you know, or just
So
me
it's
and
like,
my feelings.
that's responsibility, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
That sounds good. That sounds deep.
Yeah, it's a great book. It's helped
Yeah.
me tremendously, with
Mm-hmm.
my marriage. Um, was there anything else that you wanted to say about the bigger struggle that Black women face? Because I felt like there was maybe something to say.
Bigger struggle Black women face in relationship. Um, I'm trying to really tap into what I know. It's been a while since I've been in one. Um, let me
Oh,
see what my friends say.
well, if not, we can move on, because I there's a there's a there's a bunch of things that we could talk about on that topic. Um,
Yeah,
but I do want to be mindful of your time as well.
no
Uh,
worries.
how do you how do you teach your children about healthy relationships and emotional well-being?
That's good. I have two girls, and so I talk to them all the time, even the smaller one, the 4-year-old, almost 5. I just try to make it so clear to them how important aligning is. Um, I try to teach them, if you focus on alignment, you may save yourself some heartbreak. I explained to us, many of us before them did not have the tools to focus on that. We focused on looks, and we focused on what idea that we had our life should be. And we try to plug somebody in that cutout
Yep.
And that's just, that's not going to end well. You really have to pay attention and assess. I try to teach them to assess how you feel, how this person makes you feel when they're around you. What do you see in them in their own life, their family, their choices, what they see for their own future? I'm like drilling this stuff in them. I'm like, it's going to matter.
Yeah.
It's going to matter if you choose to stay with them or deal with them in the beginning.
And
So, mhm.
and so you said you have a 5-year-old and
5 and 16.
oh,
Yeah,
16.
yes. So I got my work cut out for me, both girls. And a lot I sometimes I use mistakes that I made at certain ages, especially to teach my 16-year-old. Even all the way up to now, I'm constantly checking in with her just about being accountable and trying to make the best choices possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, because I have a 21-year-old.
21, okay.
Yes,
Girl, boy.
girl. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
from my previous marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I've learned is you can instill as much as you can into them,
Mm-hmm.
but they still gonna have to live their life.
Yeah,
You could just hope and pray that everything that you've put in them that they can put it into practice,
right. Yeah.
you know. Um, so that's
Come out there and pray.
yeah, right. You
At least pray.
gotta be prayed up because in today's culture is very different,
It is.
with dating. I seen a stat today, I think it was on Black Millionaires. They were saying that guys from 18 to 25 don't ask women for dates or something like that, or like they don't approach women,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Why they don't have to? They're getting approached. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I
Yeah.
believe it. I had somebody recently tell me, he's 40, but he recently told me that the women are like in abundance of how they're coming on to them. He said it's like crazy. And I told him I believe him.
Yeah. How do you feel about women approaching men?
Hmm.
Or should they? I mean, like, just what are your thoughts?
I guess I'm a little old school.
Mhm.
I believe that you should put yourself in position, maybe,
Mhm.
but you should let him approach, let him pursue, hunt, whatever we want to call it, let him come up with the communication and let his brain work that he sees a person that he's interested in and let him pursue. It's okay to look and to maybe give an eye that you're interested, but nope, I would not recommend the woman pursuing. Nope.
I hear you. I mean, I'm all for it. Like you said, put yourself in position.
And
I think
I think
sometimes, go ahead.
sometimes you really want to show, a guy that, you're interested. And I think some women, because I think I can't remember, have I ever, I can remember having the thought process of confident, I'm confident. I'm not too scared to show that I like something, but I think that's just the wrong mindset. It's okay to be confident
Mhm.
and to want conversation and be open, but you need to put yourself in position so a grown man, if you're grown, can make his choice.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
For
And
himself.
I think the sad part for women is a lot of guys, especially probably the younger guys,
Mhm.
and let me know in the comment section, but I think they might not catch what a woman is putting down, as far
They
as
probably wouldn't. They definitely would. Not 18 to 25. They probably be like, they just don't like us. They so full of themselves. They just don't like us. It's sad. everything has changed.
Yeah.
Everything has changed.
Yeah. And then you have to think about the inboxes on the DM.
Hmm.
It's easier to be like, hey,
Yeah. I
um,
had a friend say that, my podcast buddy, James, he was saying it's like 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. He was like, now everything is just so at your fingertips. It's a click of a button, you know? I was like, that's true.
yeah,
Because back in the day, you had to walk over to someone's house or leave a letter, or wait for them to get home to call their house phone. Now everything is right there.
yeah.
But the thing is, when is enough enough? When is it like, you know what? I don't want it.
Mhm.
When do you reach that?
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know. When you're 60, I think most of them going to be 60.
by the time they decide to settle down.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, today's culture, like I said, is definitely different. I know I slid on my wife DM when we met.
Okay. Mhm.
I slid in the DM, but
I don't think anything wrong with that.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, slid in the DM and we started talking on the phone. It was just like, okay, well, this is
Yep.
cool. We just kind of, talking on Instagram, but it's like, okay, she was like, well, let's just talk on the phone. Like I prefer phone
Right.
conversation. And I'm like, me too.
Yeah. And
So,
boom, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, so many people have met online and gotten married and were meant to be. So
yeah.
if you have y'all that's sprinkled in between.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Uh, the comments on Instagram is
Okay.
crazy. On Instagram,
What they
they having
saying?
they having whole conversations.
With each other.
It's yeah, it's a lot.
Y'all going back and forth.
There's some it's a lady, yeah, they're going, yeah. And now yeah. Um how can single mothers or fathers balance dating while raising kids?
Hmm. That's a good one. Single mothers and fathers, balanced dating. Ooh, while raising kids. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Everyone has something different, going on, depending on what your schedule is with your kids and their other parent, if you have one, and what kind of career you have, extracurriculars. Um, it definitely requires a balance. Uh, I think for the group of us that are true grown-ups and true to our responsibility to our children, but also have an understanding for companionship, then I feel like it can happen because
Hmm.
that comes with planning. You got to plan your dates. You got to be intentional with your communication
Yeah.
and where you're going. And that's something that single parents have to remember when you're meeting these other, if they are single parents, start having the hard conversations on discipline and what the situation is with you and that other parent of your children. So you start getting clarity on those major things.
Yeah.
So if you guys decide to get serious with one another.
Hmm.
But before all the serious stuff comes in, you just have to plan out your time. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
you got to prioritize and plan out your time.
Hmm. Yeah, especially if you
Let
have
me
younger
speak up,
kids,
make sure I'm
right?
speaking up.
You said what?
Am I speaking loud enough?
Yeah, yeah, you good. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah. Because I was gonna say, I think a lot of that might play with the age of the kids too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Conversations, go
What
ahead.
they say? Conversations. Yeah, go.
Conversations going, yeah. So yeah,
Hi, y'all.
I think there's something that we can kind of discuss.
Mhm.
Because they were saying that I guess men over 45, a lot of men over 45 are playing games harder than
Y'all
the
better preach. It's crazy out here. Yeah. Yeah. You know what, Sean? I think everyone is so traumatized from their past relationships that I think a lot of these men are like, I just want to have fun. I don't want an attachment. I don't want a commitment. They probably don't want to be hurt again. It's unfortunate though, because a lot of them don't know how to move in that without hurting others.
Mm.
So I would say it's like 2% of them that know how to be transparent about that and do exactly what they say, and the situations don't get ugly. But 98% of them are not honest about that. And so there's a lot of pretending to want certain things. But I think the women are getting better at seeing the word don't line up with the action.
Yeah.
Right. They're either playing games, or the lack of communication will just show you that they're not serious. You know, when you 40 to 45 sending somebody WYD all day long. Do
I
y'all
mean, it's
feel me
not
on that?
funny, but
Like, it's just like, what are we doing here?
yeah, yeah,
So
it's gotta be
it's
tough.
a lot. I feel your pain, ladies. I feel your pain. I
Wow.
got you ready to go to them Galentines and plan your girl trips. Or
S-
I hope it's lost. No, I do. There's not enough men focused on God either. You know,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
they're not answering to someone where they feel accountable for their own choices. They answering to their friend, their homies, their boys who are still boys, who are misleading them, and they all feeding off of each other, never gonna have nothing other than money and a nice place, and they think that's everything.
Yeah.
So, child, I don't even get me started.
No, we keeping it
I'm
real.
like, where how did you got it to?
I know, right? It is just totally this. I won't say went left, but I think it's a conversation we're having. Uh,
It's
like
crazy.
Sunshine Lady asks, "Do you recommend?" She says, "Do you recommend Dutch dates?"
Oh, Dutch dates.
I'm assuming she's talking about it,
You
maybe
pay for
45,
yourself.
the 45 age.
Yeah,
That,
because it seems like the men are also saying they tired of investing into dates because maybe they didn't did that a million times and it didn't work out, probably going out with the wrong ones. So now it's like they don't even want to date. They're not really asking to go out on dates. And I think a lot of them I heard say they don't want to spend the money. So I don't know if that's why she's asking about going Dutch. I can't. I
so
don't know about the Dutch date.
no. I mean, because I figure, and maybe I'm old school and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, and I've been out the game for some years too, but I mean, ideally, if I take you on a date, I'm just going to pay for it.
Yeah,
Period. You know,
yeah,
Now, I don't think we need to go to a five-star restaurant if we going out on the first.
agree, agree.
You know, like,
Yeah,
would you be okay with just like a coffee date, just getting to know?
absolutely,
Mm,
absolutely. Because we need to talk and get to know each other.
mm, mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
all the other places is smoke and mirrors is just in the way.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be 5 star.
Mhm. Yeah. Because I heard a lady say that she said, I don't want you to give me this lifestyle that you can't maintain. So if you
Yeah,
take me out to a five-star restaurant, I'm thinking, oh, this is what we doing. And it's really not that. You just getting that five-star restaurant date just that one time.
yeah. But I think she definitely worried about the wrong thing. You know, she should be more worried about the bond that you're going to create with this person. If this is your person for life, can he feed your soul, and not can he keep up a 5 star meal? I think that's the wrong. You're worried about the wrong thing.
Mm,
That's not what's most important. I'm sorry if that's most important to her.
yeah. No, I hear you.
And
That's
that's giving them the wrong message. And that's why some of them are acting the way they're acting. So
yeah.
come on.
Uh, the questions are jumping. They throwing the questions.
What they
Says
say.
If your child communicates to you they are struggling with your new relationship, how should you
Mm.
handle that?
Whew, that's a good one. These kids, depending on the age of the child, you definitely have to sit down with that child and, hear them out. I always say it's good to hear them out so they can feel heard and that their opinion matters. Doesn't mean it's going to be what's so. And then explain to them all the things that you need and what God says that you need and how that relationship is also going to lift them up. You have to explain that they're not losing you.
Mm,
Depending on their age, they might feel like they're losing you,
yeah.
but they're gaining more for the house, for their life to be better. You know, it takes a lot of talking in that.
Yeah.
Maybe therapy. Yeah.
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 I agree because and that's got to be tough, right?
Oh,
Considering
yeah.
because it's like, you know, mom still need a life,
Yeah.
you know, and the
Yeah.
kids are like, it's just us. It's just
It's
you.
just us. Yeah. I think my 16-year-old was kind of like that when
Mhm.
I met my 5-year-old dad. It was just kind of like, why? Why is he here?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I remember when I relocated to Texas, um,
Hmm.
my wife, because we have a blended family, because she had a son at the time. He was 3 when we met.
Okay.
So I remember when I moved here, he asked my wife named Clarissa. He said, "Mommy, when is Sean going home?" She was like, "Nah, this is what we."
Mhm.
But again, kids they get used to
Yeah.
being with just maybe mom or just dad, and then this new person come in the picture. And like you said, depending on the age,
Mhm.
some things they might not be able to handle, and then it's like you really can't tell them everything, but you got to kind of put a little.
I think it's important that that person understands that the child needs to feel a part of. I think sometimes, especially when we were younger, we didn't understand that. If you had a small child already, that this child kind of feels like they're on the outside,
Yeah.
so you got to make your person understand you're not just dating me or committing to me, you're committing to all of us.
Mm,
And that's why that part is so important too. What person you choose, because they got to be good for your children too. Yeah,
yeah, because
yeah,
blended families, they're a package deal. I mean,
yeah,
single parenting, it's a package deal. You just can't love, you and not your kids.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, I love you, trees, but I don't know about your kids. You're like,
Right. And I probably think guys, guys that haven't quite got there yet, don't understand that. Sometimes, when they just haven't learned that, because it has to be learned.
yes, yes,
So
mm,
a lot of talking, talk to our children. Got to keep talking to them.
sure, for sure. So, how do you feel about how hard is the transition to, I won't say detach from your children, but like, how does a single mom, how would you make that work? Like, just trying to find that time in between your kids. I think we kind of talked about this
Yeah,
earlier.
that's true.
Yeah, like
It's
for
gotten
moms.
tougher now. Yeah, it's gotten tougher for me now because me personally, I have a child who's now working a part-time job, and then I have an almost 5-year-old. And so um my time is always taken between running back and forth to her part-time,
Yep.
my own job, and then
Mm,
my youngest one, dance class and school. I'm looking for time now. My time is valuable,
yeah.
you know? So honestly, it has created a way for me to know who to eliminate more swiftly. People who are not moving with an intention on really dating me, and I'm scratching them right out because my time is valuable. You got me, you better grasp it and let's go or swipe. But it's a little challenging right now. But I understand the importance in it. I always try to tell my friends, especially my friends that have more than two children, your time is important. You know, even at home, I realize now your home is your sanctuary. When they're gone into their rooms or relaxed, you got to create moments for yourself to let your brain relax, to just unsort and pull away your day and your week and think to yourself. So
Yeah.
you got to prioritize time for you.
Yeah.
Grab it any way you can. Everybody say I hide out in Giant, the grocery store. They're like, you run down there for just every 5 seconds to get something. It is a peaceful place for me. I have another friend, she does the thrift store. She's not even buying nothing. She just in there walking around.
Yeah.
But moms and dads, grab your time. You know, if you have an arrangement set up with the other parent, when they go, you better prioritize. Get your clothes clean, get the house clean, get some you time in,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's important because kids, it's just like they just don't turn off. They just
No.
mommy, 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 mommy.
I always say no pause. There's no pause, you know?
Gotcha.
So,
Shout out to the single parents. Yeah,
yeah, you
for
got grandparents that will, you better utilize them.
real. You know what I'm saying?
Utilize them. Yeah.
Real. How do you? So this is
Hmm.
the last question that I had because the
Hmm.
questions going crazy on IG. How do you navigate dating relationships while being an influencer? Like, do people have you ever had any experiences where like they saw the things that you do and maybe was intimidated or like how does that work?
It's interesting. You know, I had a situation once where, and I think he even said it, he wasn't really crazy about it. And he was kind of in the initial phase. He kind of was like, do you have to do this type of thing? And I don't know where that was coming from. I don't know if he just didn't want me to be seen as much or if he was uncomfortable with the topics. But then I had a situation where he was like, you talking about us on there. And so, like, no, I'm not. Well, the shoe fits.
It's my life.
um, yeah, I'm like, look, a lot of my opinions is based on my life.
Sure.
So it's not real challenging for me because I'm like, either you with it and you support it or you don't. I do think it's put another layer of pressure on myself, though. Like sometimes when I'm dating someone and if I'm not pleased with what I'm seeing, I like triple check myself. Like, wait a minute, Trees, and then other trees.
Yeah.
Like, take your own advice. You can't do this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's helped me. It's helped me put stuff in perspective.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and just for in your experience, do you let everyone know, like, if you're dating someone, like, hey, I'm a influencer, I'm an actress, like, not saying you
I
got to
don't,
lead with that, but
yeah.
yeah, but do you let them know up front or?
I think I do. I think if we get to like conversation 2 and 3, then I let them know, I have a community podcast and I've done, some acting and I've done music. I do let them know.
Yeah.
I think one time I told this guy that, and I do think it scared him off. I didn't hear from him. He went to my page, and then when he called me back on the phone, he was like, wow, like he sounded a little overwhelmed. I'm like, it's okay, it's all right. But I just say, hey, the right one will support it. But it's helped me to kind of keep myself in check a little bit
Because
while dating. Mhm.
yeah, because with social media, a lot of times people they go on your Instagram page, they Googling your name,
Mhm.
people they be looking everywhere. And
Yeah.
so, um,
I think sometimes people can forget that you're a person. They look at this figure and they don't realize, yes, the pictures are nice and the whatever, but I'm still a person.
yeah, yeah, like you say,
Yeah.
fall in love with that. They kind of, fall in love with the ideal of you, but not
Yeah,
you as the
yes,
person.
100%.
Yeah.
And I wanted to circle back on the kid thing right quick when you were saying dating with the children. I
Yeah.
wanted to also say it's important when we decide to introduce our kids to people. Um, I know with me, I think I'm super protective on that because one, I have girls, and then two, you don't want to get caught up and you've brought a lot of people around them. And then three, their expectation, especially with, like I said, certain ages. My 5-year-old expectation is going to look different than my 16-year-old. And I just don't want their feelings to get invested if they don't have to. And that happens, and that's hard when that happens. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because kids can become attached, um,
Mm-hmm.
depending on how long the relationship lasts or how involved, the guy is in a relationship. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's important,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody don't deserve that privilege.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Protect your kids, people.
for sure, for sure.
You
Well,
know.
I
Mm-hmm.
have one last question to ask you. I know I said that was my last question, but this is really going to be my last.
Okay. Okay.
uh, I want to, of course, end the show with our sponsor, a Love Fearlessly Intimacy Card Deck that my wife and I created. If you are dating, if you are married, if you are in a committed relationship, this 30 card deck will definitely help you get to understand the person that you're with on another level, because as we talked about earlier, we grow and we change. So sometimes, what you liked 5 years ago, you might not like. So the intimacy card deck is important because you're like, oh, I didn't even know that about you now.
Mm-hmm. With
Um,
those cards, y'all, some dope questions on there.
yeah, for sure. Jonathan, the life changer, said you should go live with a single dad who is also successful. I love to get insight from them.
Oh, yes. I agree with that.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
agree with you.
yeah, for sure.
A lot of
Yeah,
strong ones out there.
yeah. If you know anybody, if you know any successful single dads, I think that's a great topic.
That is a great topic.
Yeah, because we don't
It
hear from
needs
the
to be
dads that
out
much.
there. You don't. And it needs to be seen because women need to know that they exist too. And men need to see that brother out there doing the right thing. Yep.
Sure.
Good idea, Jonathan.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, so you put that in the mental Rolodex. So
Yeah, I
here's,
know it's you. Mm-hmm.
oh, you do? Yeah, tell him, send him my way, Trees, if you know him.
Okay.
I'm sure yeah,
Will do.
yeah. He says, what's the name of the cards? It is Love Fearlessly Intimacy Card Deck. You can find it on my website at scarytoremarry.com. You can find it in the product section of the website, scarytoremarry.com. Teddy says, I need some of those cards. I'm about to get into a relationship. Yes, go to scarytoremarry.com/products. You'll get it there. So I'm going to ask Teresa a question from
Yeah.
the intimacy card deck.
Oh,
We're not going to go too deep because,
sorry.
how did you gain your financial insights from parents or through hands-on experience?
My financial insights.
Mhm.
Mm. From parents, and what was the rest?
From parents or hands-on experience?
From my mom. My mom was a single mom.
Mhm.
Um, but my dad was around, but my mom really showed me with her action how to hold how education is truly key because she was always in school while she was raising me and my brother to climb onto higher steps with her job. And she was a government employee, but she was trying to get to a certain space, a certain step, and a certain salary. So she was in school, which I believe they paid for her to get promoted, which she succeeded at, right? And she showed us how to budget, budget, right? I don't think I fell in her footsteps as much with that, but she was a tight budgeter. And then she also showed us again how education is key. When she was ready to leave the government years ago, it's like maybe 15 years ago, and she started her own trucking company, which was crazy. It was at a time where everybody was buying dump trucks. And it
Yeah.
was like this little lady dressed up in suits every day switched to dump truck with hats on, and she bought a big dump truck and hired my uncle. And she just really showed us the importance of learning and using what you know. My mom's a hustler.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
um, she got contracts with different apartments in DC.
Uh,
And it was like, wow, because she just had enough of the government. She did end up going back to the government when the economy got crazy some years ago.
yeah.
But it made a huge impression on me that one, you have to work hard for what you want, and you have to know what you want and stay focused on it. So it was I've worked since I was 14. But I always tell my youngest daughter, my mom didn't sit down with us and really explain the importance of like credit, and just like it would be like, go to college, save some money, just those easy things.
Mhm.
Um, I don't feel like I had the details that we now try to teach our kids and give our kids tools. So I learned through my young life that jumping out of mama's house and getting my own place at a very young age, um, and getting things in my name at a very young age, that I, put debt on myself at a young age. So I learned that with my own hands on. And I also learned that finances is critical in relationships, because a lot of people break up over financial hardships.
Yes, for
So,
sure.
I've learned work hard. Like I do have that not hustler mentality, but I work very hard. I can hold down one job to three jobs. um, but I've learned that your choices are going to matter on the long haul
Yeah.
when it comes to your credit and your name financially. Right.
Yes. I love it. Yeah, because one I listened to one pastor, Andy Stanley, he's in Atlanta, and
Mm-hmm.
he always say life is connected. A lot of
Mm,
times we think the things that we do are isolated incidents, but or isolated choices. But it's
right.
like, no, the choice you made 20 years ago can affect
Mhm.
you today,
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
And of course,
Yep.
we all make mistakes, we all learn
Mhm.
and grow, but we have to be mindful of the moves that we make, and having, parents or mentors, people that can really help us.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep. I try to tell my kids, and Country Wayne said this too. If you have a lot of fun in your 20s, you're going to pay for it in your 30s. And I believe that.
yeah,
And so I try to tell my daughter, especially now where life is now, every decision you're making right now in 10th grade is going to determine your next 5 years. Like your decisions right now is important. They are vital.
yes,
So you can set your life up. Yeah.
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. We got another question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. What issues can arise when partners are not respectful or understanding of each other's perspectives or beliefs? How can they work through this type of issue?
Two are not respectful on each other's beliefs.
Pers
It's going to be hard.
yeah, each other's perspectives or beliefs. Now, I don't, that can be broad, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Depends on the beliefs. Yeah.
right. Um, but I guess, and
What would
correct
you
me if
say?
I'm wrong, I guess maybe, basically they're not seeing eye to eye.
Hmm.
And how can they work through those issues?
I think first, two people have to come to the table with the understanding and the willingness to see what that person's perspective is from their point, and that's from their point of view. And that's not easy to do. but it takes putting that pride down and truly listening to what that person is saying, where they are, why they feel the way they feel. First, both people have to be committed to wanting to understand the other person. You have to stop looking in the mirror and looking at your own point and look at the other person's point. And then getting to those beliefs, depending on what these beliefs are. If you're not going to ever agree on a belief, can you both compromise enough to respect one another's beliefs and still operate together? And that really depends on what the beliefs are.
I
That's hard. That's truly hard because I've seen some situations like that. I've seen relationships end like that. And this was over spiritual belief.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It
yeah,
varies. Like you say, it depends on the perspectives or beliefs because some things could be deal breakers. Some people, you just
yeah,
it depends.
yeah,
So I know it was a broad question, but basically, how do you work through those? I agree with everything that you were saying. And like you say, you have to look outside of yourself
yes.
and be
Yeah.
mindful. And here's the thing about relationships.
Mhm.
Relationships are so tight knit that if one person is winning, the relationship is losing,
Mm,
you know?
yeah,
So that's how tight a relationship,
tight.
that's how locked in you both have to be. That
Hmm.
yeah, you're winning, but the relationship is losing. So uh we have to do something that's for the collective,
Yes,
you know.
yeah, I agree with that.
And like you said, putting that pride aside, that
Step
ego.
out aside, step outside yourselves, you know. So you that had that question, you have to look at what their perspective is and go through that with them. And they have to do the same for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You gotta have a conversation for sure. Well, Treese, this has been a phenomenal episode. Always know that
Yes,
you can come back, just the inbox away.
yes, I'll be back.
You can,
Girl too.
yeah, right. You can always come back. The Brave Hearts community love you here. She says spot on. So
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Yes.
yeah,
Shout
always,
out to all y'all.
huh?
Shout out to all of the Bravehearts, all of your family. They're
Yes,
all there.
yes, gotta love it. She says phenomenal for sure. The Brave
Thank you.
Hearts community love you here. Let everyone know how they can get in touch with you.
Guys, right now I am just primarily on Instagram at the real Miss Treese. I do talk to Treese on Wednesday nights. I've been taking a little bit of a break right now, but I'll be back. But Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Talk to Treese. You can inbox me at any time for any insight, any venting sessions. I'm here. I'm a tool. Utilize me. And that's it. I'm also on TikTok, Miss Treese on TikTok. Okay.
Awesome, awesome. I'll have everything linked up in the description. So for those who want to follow you,
Yes.
meet you on Instagram. Uh,
Yep.
can you put the spelling of her name in the chat? So let me just,
At the real Miss Treese. Yes.
yeah.
Y'all probably gonna get me. I gotta make sure my TikTok. I think my TikTok is Miss Treese. But yep, Instagram, that's my home. So you can go there. And right now, my thing is just community building, relationship talk, community talk, and cozy content. Content that just makes you feel happy, good, music, and food. Okay. You can get all of those pleasures there.
Love it, love it. Can't beat that.
Yes.
All right, Bravehearts community, make sure you hit the subscribe button, share this episode with someone. As you can see, it was on Facebook Live. You can also go there and look at the replay as well, but it will be on YouTube for your viewing pleasure. Make sure you share this in your group chat with someone. You never know what someone might be going through. So put it in a group chat, share it with your friends, had a conversation, because there was a lot of wisdom bombs dropped in this episode. Also, if you are listening to this via podcast on Apple, leave a rating and review. By doing so, it'll put you in the drawing for a free Amazon gift card. This is Sean Heineman with my special guest.
Thank you for having me.
For sure.
Always a blast.
Yes. Brave Arts community. Take care.